Hey, we're live. Here we are. We're a little bit early, and no doubt the broadcast started a little bit early, but this guest today is, it's a treat. I want to introduce Rabbi Shmuly Yanklowitz. He is actually has a doctorate as well, but he goes by Rabbi Shmuly or just Shmuly. What's interesting is, along with all this, the biography that goes on for pages and pages, you're actually recognized by your colleagues, and you were voted one of the 50 most influential rabbis 3 different years in the last decade. So congratulations, Shmuly, and welcome to the program. How are you?
Thank you. Terrific. Great to be with you and to discuss important matters of the day. So thanks for giving me some time to chat.
Yeah, no, this is our treat, our pleasure. I do want to say that you are a distinguished author as well. You've written close to 24 books. Last one published in 2020, entitled "The Book of Jonah: A Social Justice Commentary." And if anybody wants to get any of those books, you go ahead and go to Amazon.com, right?
That's right. They're all right there. Thank you.
Yeah, Shmuly is spelled S-H-M-U-L-Y. Yanklowitz, Y-A-N-K-L-O-W-I-T-Z. And let's just start off with, what were you doing before the pandemic? How are things going for you? Oh, I should probably mention the temple that you are a rabbi at. It's the Valley Beit Midrash. Did I say that right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So Valley Beit Midrash is actually not a temple, but organizes the various temples, the various synagogues, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, as an adult Jewish learning center. So we kind of do 2 things. We do pluralistic intellectual engagement of learning, ethics, and the like, theology. And we have Arizona Jews for Justice, where we have our social justice branch, where we take that learning and put it into action. And so this really, like all of us, hit us like a ton of bricks in that our space was about gathering. We physically come together to study, to learn, to organize, to have an impact. And so we've had to move a lot of that online and find other ways to do our work. But and we know this isn't going to be over anytime super soon. And so we're doing all we can to kind of continue to hold each other.
Yeah, and have you noticed a big difference in the demeanor of the folks that you're working with?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you like always, you have so many different reactions. Those who are enjoying this time off, those who are struggling deeply, those who have a lot of privilege and those who don't, in terms of how they, what they have access to. And so there's a huge range of responses, of course. And so we're trying to provide different things. Some people need physical goods. Some people need connection. Some people are just bored. And so there's a lot of different ways we're trying to engage and respond to those needs. And it's an opportunity. Like everything, it's an opportunity for us to see some of the inequalities and injustices that were in the old normal, that we don't want to return to that old normal. We want to, get through this, but create a more just society where people are not more vulnerable at times like this. I think of those who don't have the privilege to stay home. We should all stay home. And yet there are those doing essential work. And sadly, those doing essential work are sometimes making the least money and have the least protections.
Yeah. I do want to put a little disclaimer out there. First of all, we're talking to Rabbi Shmuly, and if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the bar. We'll try to ask it and get those answered for you. But as I am running for office, this is not an endorsement in any way from Rabbi Shmuly or his congregation, or is it a gaggle, a flock? I'm not sure the actual term, but his folks. And basically, this is just brought to you as a community connection and for everybody to expand their minds a little bit. So thanks for joining us again. Get those questions to us. I do want to ask you, so we just passed Passover, and we had 2 different Seders. For my family, it was really nice because I hadn't communicated with a lot of my folks, my family back east. But once this came upon us, I got the invite to do a Zoom Seder, and it was like the best of dinners. It was the worst of dinners because we spent about a half hour, hey, grandma, your mic's not on. Hey, put on the thing and this and then everybody. But to just see everybody was really special. Tell me, how is your Seder a little different?
Well, it was bittersweet on the practical level. Normally, we host the community in our home, as many people as we can that don't have a place to go, and that we're friendly with. And this year was just our family, and so that was hard, but also amazing because we don't normally get to focus on our children for Seder. So that was really great. Also hard because we had plans. I was going to be at a Passover program in San Diego. I was going to be engaged in some political debates actually with some folks. And that was canceled, and my in-laws were supposed to join us, so that was challenging. But it was also really profound because this was the first Passover perhaps since the original that everyone stayed home. The original, everyone was confined to their own homes and had to wait for the plague to pass over their home. And we were once again kind of returned to that reality. And so Passover is ultimately about liberation. And so it was a time to kind of be hopeful and be faithful and recommit to our values around what we can do when the holiday is over and God willing, the plague passes over. I mean, in the story, everyone talks about Moses and Moses's leadership to speak truth to power and get to the other side of the sea. But Miriam, his sister, faithfully, hopefully packs her instruments, knowing that on the other side of the stormy waters, we will get across and then we will celebrate. And so too, at this time, we see the fear, we see the pain, we see the death, and yet we pack our instruments because we know that soon, hopefully sooner, we will be on the other side.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And for, while I'm Jewish, I'm not the best at practicing. So I'm going to ask some questions that might seem elementary. And just we're trying to expand people's minds.
Well, let me say something about that. First of all, that I think you are the best at practicing because many think that Judaism is about ritual, but Judaism is primarily about ethics. And you're someone who's in the public sphere fighting for human rights and to create a more just society. And that, as Maimonides, the greatest of Jewish philosophers, explains, is the quintessential Judaism. That is what it means to practice Judaism, is to fight for the just society. So in fact, you are modeling that.
Well, thank you. I feel really good now. I was feeling not so good just a moment ago. Hey, can you tell us, what does the yarmulke signify?
Right. The yarmulke is the Yiddish, and in Hebrew it's kippah, and this is the little hat I'm wearing that I wear all the time, but most Jews don't wear all the time. And it's really just a head covering that reminds us of our Jewish values. And for those who believe in a God, that it humbles us, that we are not ultimately in control. We do all we can to exercise our responsibility, but ultimately we don't have total control, as we've learned in this pandemic, like nothing else, that we can be powerless at times. And so the kippah, or the yarmulke, as I said, most Jews don't wear, but more ritually observant Jews like myself will wear all the time.
Great. And so getting back to Passover for a moment, one of my great things growing up, my memories, was trying to find the afikomen. Mm-hmm. Did I say that correctly?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So that's where you hide a piece of matzah and everybody goes out scavenging, trying to find it. And whoever finds it gets a little prize. Now, when I was at my Uncle Paul's house, who is a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon, one of those guys, his prize was a $5 bill. It was crisp. It was nice. When I was at my grandma's house, it was like a little note or something with a picture on it. It wasn't much. What are you doing for the afikomen in your house with the 4 kids?
Yeah, thank you. Our kids love it. We put the babies to sleep early, so it's really the 2 bigger kids. And they love it. They compete to find it as fast as they can. They know they're going to get a prize after the holiday. They have to wait for it. But it's the search themselves that they love. But the message is kind of profound because in Judaism, as you know, we talk about tikkun olam, the role of repairing the world. But tikkun olam actually comes from repairing the hidden dimensions. And that's to say that we don't try to repair the surface level of society. We try to get to the hidden dimensions below the surface. And we hide the afikomen to remind us that we have to search and search and search for that which is below the surface. So it might not be as good as a crisp $5 bill, but we're trying to teach our kids of the value of that work of repair and healing.
Well, that will get you a cup of coffee in most places, but that $5 bill will. No, just kidding. Hey, so a lot of this is about remembrance, the past. being bridged to the future and right through the present.
Yeah.
It's a profound day today, Holocaust Remembrance, Yom HaShoah. Talk a little bit about that and try to go into how we're in this difficult, dark time right now, and there's people looking for scapegoats, and you find the rise of anti-Semitism kind of going up as people are saying those people and trying to look for a fault. Give us your thoughts.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we wish this would go away because Yom HaShoah, I mean, over 75 years later, 85. Well, what is it? 55 plus 75 years. That where 6 million Jews were brutally killed. Anyone who has a basic education knows about the gas chambers and the concentration camps. And all too flippantly, sometimes people compare really bad things today to that. And while the Holocaust should motivate us to fight injustice, we should be cautious with these comparisons because, trying to wipe out, exterminate, commit genocide is really its own category. And the Jewish people have never recovered from it. Our numbers have never recovered. Our morale has never recovered. And we know that anti-Semitism in America and globally is on the rise these last number of years. Part of it, in my belief, is that this administration has fueled hate and inspired white nationalists to act against minorities in general. And oftentimes Jews are, as you mentioned, the scapegoat for many problems on both sides. Jews are the capitalists, to some, and Jews are socialists. To others, people look at Jared Kushner and they say, the Jews are in the White House. People look at Bernie Sanders, they say, the Jews are the far left, and Jews are in control of the world. And there's these stereotypes and these scapegoating that happens. It's very scary. And so we as Jews work to defend our own, but also work to build coalitions and be in solidarity with other minorities to combat this hate. And to be sure, it's not only white nationalists, there's also groups among minorities that hold anti-Semitic beliefs, that hold ignorant beliefs. So it comes from all different directions, the far left and the far right. The violent attacks we've seen in the last few years in synagogues, for example, are coming from white nationalists on their far right who are hating refugees and know that Jews are on the forefront of defending immigrants and refugees. So it's a very scary time for Jews, but also a time where we have to remember that we're all in this together and have to fight for a just society together.
And sometimes the worst of others brings out the best of us.
Yes.
And I'm sure you must have some wonderful stories about times where people have kind of come together. Can you share one maybe that you got in recent memory?
Yeah. It's all the time. One of our customs in our house that we love is every Thanksgiving we have new Syrian refugees in our home. As a chance to connect with that community. Or I think about some of the rallies we've just done around the community, whenever there's hate against any group and how we see each other stand with one another. And we remind each other that we don't just speak out for our own. The LGBT population, when they're under attack, they don't just stand up for their own. They have to, bridge out with other groups, and people of color under attack and they bridge out, and Muslims or Jews are under attack. We stand together. And so this is constantly happening. It's constantly happening that we're standing together. We have a Jewish-Muslim dialogue we've held hold every few months for years now. And after the Muslim community was attacked, we showed up at the mosque. And after there was a shooting in Pittsburgh, horrible shooting, they showed up at our rally. And so it's very profound and moving when we can do that for each other.
That is beautiful. Is there a certain part of the Muslim population that you're working with? Is a certain mosque?
Well, we have worked with the Islamic Speakers Bureau, and so of Arizona, and so they've connected us to various mosques, and we connect them to various synagogues. We're kind of play matchmaker, kind of some bridge building.
You say matchmaker in Judaism. I mean, it's got a whole different meaning.
That's right. Right.
Especially my grandma. Hey, so let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now. Tell me a bit about Arizona Jews for Justice. I know there's a Facebook page. And again, we're talking with Rabbi Shmuly. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. We're an hour earlier than we normally are because the man's busy. We take what we can get.
You're very kind. I'm honored to be with you. Thank you. So, so yes, there is an Arizona Juice for Justice Facebook page and a group. And obviously anybody can like a page, but also anyone can join the group. Anyone who is not hostile to the agenda of standing with the vulnerable and building interfaith coalitions to do this work should join the group. And that is a page where if you have social justice initiatives, you can post in there, as I've seen you do yourself. You can post in there to share some of your thoughts or some of your projects so we can work together to build a more just Arizona, as I know, Eric, you're working to do. So, and there's a lot of things we do. Our lead organizer is a fabulous young fellow named Eddie Chavez Calderon, who is himself a DACA recipient, a dreamer, who is fighting on the front lines for asylum seekers. And we have been inside detention centers and have worked with over 40,000 asylees over the last year who have had desperate medical, legal needs, humanitarian needs, medicine and the like. And so that has been our main initiative. And then we were really stuck here in the coronavirus. And then we just launched the Mask Project. The Mask Project, we post a lot about in Arizona Juice for Justice, but also has its own Facebook page. If you just put in the Mask Project, you'll find it. And here we are working to employ and support immigrant mothers who are really in poverty to do the work of making masks and then delivering those masks to populations who need the most. So just today, we're delivering a whole bunch to Navajo Nation up in northern Arizona, who have really been hit hard. We're delivering them to seniors at risk. And if you yourself, anyone who donates to the project, we have a Facebook fundraiser up there now, donates to the project and requests a mask, we'll also send masks to you as well. So we have read the data that masks are needed and really reduce one's risk when in the public sphere. And so we encourage folks to support the project.
Great. One more time. What's the name of the project?
The Mask Project. The Mask Project. So if you go to Arizona Juice for Justice website, you will find it there. Or if you just put in the Mask Project in Facebook, you should find it over there as well.
Right. Not to be confused with the Masked Singer, because you do have a great voice for chanting.
That's kind. Thank you.
Hey, one of the things we're doing with our campaign, as we've had to retool as well, is we talk about how we're in a time of darkness right now. And we have the opportunity to be the light. We have the opportunity to be the rainbow with the rain. And we have this thing called the Rainbow Project, where we ask people to be the rainbow. And if they want, they give us their name and their address, and we set them up out of the voter file with what looks like people who are over 65 and living alone, and they can call them geographically right around their house and just say, hey, I'm your neighbor. I thought I'd check in and see how you're doing. We've had some great stories come out of that. So I think that kind of goes together. I think people look for ways to be empowered of kindness, right? So how do you think we're going to come out of this pandemic, out of this lockdown? Do you have a vision of a kinder, gentler, more loving kind of society?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I think we're going to see both, really a whole range of responses. We're going to see those who will be even more selfish and more greedy and more self-concerned and do anything they can, even if it means pushing someone down to get ahead, because that's what happens in a scarcity model with a lot of fear. And we're going to see also those who aren't driven by like that, but are so desperate to return to normal that that they will rush to get back to old systems. But also, we're going to see a whole groundswell of a powerful movement of those who don't want to return to normal, who understand we need to operate differently, that we need to come together as a community to support each other, come out of isolation, and address each different needs that we have, and move out of our fear back into interconnectivity to realize how interconnected we are, and that we have to infuse compassion and justice into that interconnectivity.
That's beautiful, and I hope we get there. Remember, if you want to check out some of Shmuly's books, go over to Amazon and just put in his name. The latest book is The Book of Jonah, a social justice commentary. The man has been walking the walk for years. He's recognized as one of the 50 top rabbis, influential rabbis in the United States, and we're lucky enough to have him on the show and here in Arizona, Valley of the Sun. Could you end us off here with some words of hope?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to offer strength to you and those like you who are working to restore a society that is inclusive and welcoming and more equitable and is driven by our better angels. And that all those who are engaged with public service feel strengthened in such challenging times. And then a blessing to all the listeners, and I hope you'll give that blessing back to me. Of course, that we have health, we have safety, we have security, that our basic needs are continue to be met, but also that we, even in our isolation, feel the interconnectivity, feel the love that's out there for us to hold each other and hold each other strong and well, and feel that we will come out of this, as we said about Miriam, to the other side of the sea. We can come out stronger if we keep our values intact, keep our vision for what we can build together intact, and finally, just a blessing that that we remember that each of us has a role to play. That amidst the darkness, we can bring a lot of light, and none of us should feel powerless or helpless. That each of us can do little things each day to make phone calls, send messages, do what we can to put out a little bit light and love into the universe.
Beautiful. This has been a moving conversation for me. I have to tell you, it really was. I am a jokester at heart and take things very much kind of easy, but it was moving, and much love your way. I appreciate you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
All right. Well, Rabbi Shmuly was our guest today. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to have Dr. Terry again talking and asking your questions about family and child psychology, helping get through these dark times. Thank you very much, Shmuly. Good talking to you, and best to your family.
Thanks. All the best to you.
Okay.